Good afternoon. We're at Blue Ridge Bank here in Charlottesville. I'm Jerry Ratcliffe of jerryratcliffe.com, and I'm joined by Gary Shook, president of Blue Ridge Bank, who has graciously sponsored our coverage of the ACC Football Championship this week between Virginia and Clemson on Saturday night, 7:30, down at the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, a familiar place. Virginia won their bowl games down there last year over another South Carolina team, the Gamecocks. And we'll be going back down there Friday for some pre-championship events and, of course, provide game coverage in detail Saturday night. And Gary, great to be with you.
Good to be with you too. And I can't make it down to the game. We certainly did last year for the bowl game, and that was a great time and a nice victory over South Carolina. So, here's fingers crossed and toes crossed that we have a good showing when we get there this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Charlotte's been good luck for Virginia lately.
Yes.
Winning in the NCAA tournament down there last year on their way to the national championship and the bowl game, as you mentioned, and now back again. So.
And we tend to travel well to Charlotte as well, with a large alumni base based down there in Atlanta. They sort of converge and can get there fairly easily, plus the folks from up here.
That's true. Should be a full stadium with Clemson so close by, too. So should be an exciting atmosphere.
Yes, a lot of orange.
A whole lot of orange. Before we get to talking football here, and that's what we're here for, tell us a little bit about Blue Ridge Bank and what's going on with you guys right now.
Well, great. Lots of good things. We've had a strong year this year, continuing our growth in all of our markets. And as it worked out this year, graciously, thankfully, we grew in each of our markets a high percentage, more so than the market itself grew, which means we are growing within that market. This market, we grew about 26%, which was a huge number, and continuing to grow. One of the big things we're talking about, we talk about the jackpot savings thing, the 25,000, you just open a savings account and you enter and have that opportunity. We're upping that to 50,000 for 2020. So
wow, did you hear that?
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, that's as I said, as we ran the numbers, the 50,000 should turn some heads because you're opening a savings account and you have this option that you can randomly win $50,000 at the end plus quarterly prizes as well. I think that's pretty cool. But the big thing for us right here in Charlottesville is our merger. We will finalize that next week on the 13th and be joining forces with Virginia Community Bank, which is based in Central Virginia. And as a result of that, we'll be a billion-dollar bank based right here in Charlottesville, which we are very pleased to have that come together and all the pieces in place to make that work. And it's going to be good for Charlottesville, but it's going to be good for the bank to be based here. Because it's central from our all of our points, from Norfolk to Greensboro, on up to Winchester and over to Charlottesville and Harrisonburg. So it gives us a nice central spot in the footprint to operate from. So
that's awesome.
Lots of good bankers here. So lots of opportunity. We'd love to work with you, anybody in any of our markets with regard to their business and then of course their personal needs too.
Absolutely. Give Blue Ridge Bank a good look.
Amen. Thank you.
Let's talk a little football.
All right.
Virginia, heavy underdog, 28-point underdog to Clemson, defending national champion, winners of 27 consecutive games. A real huge task at hand. A lot of people said, why would you want to win the Coastal Division and play Clemson, the number 3 Clemson, but you might get your heads handed to you, but Bronco Mendenhall is fired up.
I like his comments. Yeah,
he thinks, he said, where else would we rather be?
Right. I mean, you want to be in the championship game, and you can't predict or you can't determine who your opponent's going to be. So you take the draw, and I think my son was sitting there saying, well, Dad, you got the Clemson game, and then you have Alabama or Florida, depending on how the bowl thing shakes out. And then we kick off with Georgia. So our next 3 games, we might as well get ready for it somehow, and Clemson's as good as any.
That's some big boy football right there.
That's big boy football, next 3 games, no matter what. So
Exactly.
we're going to have to play up for that. But, things can happen, too. Purdue played a defending national champion last night and saw the other side of that. So Clemson could certainly have the other side of it if they come in just dismissing Virginia as not an opponent. Doesn't sound like from the commentary I'm reading from their side that they're taking that view, but things could happen.
You never know because, North Carolina is the only team that has had more than 7 points on them at halftime. It was 14-14, and that game went down to the wire. Carolina was only a missed 2-point conversion from pulling off the upset of the year.
Right.
And, of course, we know all about the Tar Heels. Virginia handled them fairly well. So I was talking to Bronco Mendenhall and Bryce Perkins and Eli Hanback and Mandy Alonzo, some other guys earlier in the week. And they believe it's imperative for Virginia to try to get off to a good start like they did against Virginia Tech.
Right.
Because that
set the tone.
Yeah,
that
it sets the tone not only for to the other team sending a message, but for your own team that you can do it.
Yeah.
I think it's huge. It's an overwhelming challenge because Clemson has not given up 300 yards to anybody all season. They held Wake Forest to 5 first downs, South Carolina last week to 9 first downs. It's going to be a real challenge for Virginia's offense to be able to put some points on the board against those guys.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking it was the beginning of the season they may have played Wofford to give them a little bit of a run for their money. My son's alma mater. There was a lot of cheering in our family going on over that one. But I think, the statistics, say what they say. But I think on any given day, the gravity of this game, everybody's going to be playing up to their highest potential. So I think our team will come ready. And if so, I think we give them a good game.
Yeah, it could very well be. And, Bryce Perkins was ended up being a runner-up for ACC Player of the Year, ACC Offensive Player of the Year.
And what a great job he did in that Tech game.
Unbelievable.
Boy, he set the tone. I mean, first quarter, Tech had to be saying, okay, what's our next plan?
Exactly.
After his start there. So if he could do that sets the tone, as you said just a minute ago.
He's become really adept at recognizing defenses, and when he saw Tech blitzing from the outside, and he's really been good about this. He recognized that there was going to be a hole up the middle, and he took off both times, one on a quarterback draw. I think the other one was a called play. But I think that's probably going to be Clemson's point of emphasis, is try to find a way to shut him down and make Virginia beat him some other way. But that's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's right.
He had, I think, of Virginia's almost 500 yards offense against Tech, which was pretty impressive against a team that hadn't given up a point in 8 or 9 quarters coming in. But he had almost all of those total yards or a hand in them. So he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, he is. He will be.
And of course, Virginia's defense has done a superb job down the stretch, and they're going to have to face one of the most powerful offenses in the country. Clemson's averaging, I think, their point margin of victory spread is something like 34, 35 points a game. So they've got to face Trevor Lawrence, a great passer, a ton of really gifted receivers, and Travis Etienne, the running back who beat out Perkins for Offensive Player of the Year and ACC Player of the Year. So a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work
to be done.
Make sure everybody gets their energy drinks, I guess.
Absolutely. I know you're a big Virginia fan. What's been your biggest takeaway from this past season?
Well, the my biggest takeaway from being on your gridiron pole was not ending in last place, but the that was my biggest takeaway.
You did a good job.
The no, I think the whole season, and you saw the growth of what took place this year, and how things the Bronco plan starting to come together. I mean, everybody gets thumped around here until you finally are able to put some pieces together. Of course, that Tech win is big, but I'm still of the school that North Carolina win is still a big one too in my mind.
Absolutely.
So I think we demonstrated early on the Notre Dame game, Miami, Louisville, you could shake your head at a little bit, but they right after that they put things together, and it was a completely different focus as you saw them march through the rest of the year. So I think the takeaway is the growth and the pieces coming together.
Yeah. And George Welsh used to say they remember November.
Yeah.
And they will remember this November
Yeah,
for a long time.
Right.
The Cavaliers were undefeated in November.
Right.
First time in a long time. I can't remember the date, but it's been a while. And unbeaten at home this year.
Right.
And Bryce Perkins at home was 11-1 in Scott Stadium as a starting quarterback.
Well, I didn't know that stat, but boy, what a testament to him.
That shows you what a huge difference he's made in this football program. I don't know if Virginia would be anywhere close to the turnaround that it's had without him.
I agree, and I think most pundits probably would, that he was a major factor.
Being a Virginia alum, what's it mean to be in the championship game to you?
Well, that's one of those unbelievable things that as a who of many years, we'd always talk about, well, next year will be this. Next year, well, this is next year. We're in the championship game. So I think that's pretty great. I think all of us need to pay attention to that game, and we were certainly looking for a win, but no matter the outcome, of thanking this team for what they did this year to get us to that spot, because that is, in our Coastal Division, there ain't anybody else in that game but us, and there's some folks in that division that would have preferred to be there over us. So I think that's big, and as we go on to the bowl season, I think the positive aspects of making sure we show up and be a part of those games, I think, is very important.
Absolutely, and it looks like Virginia's going to be in the Orange Bowl. It's
Right.
not set in stone yet, but all the pieces seem to be there. Trip of a lifetime. Virginia's only played in one major bowl before. That was the Sugar Bowl back in 1990. And so this is, for all the Wahoo fans, this is the potentially trip for a lifetime. Who knows, maybe it'll be a regular thing now the Broncos are getting this program put together.
Right.
But up until now, this is an incredible opportunity to go to the Orange Bowl, one of the greatest and most traditional bowl games in the country.
And hopefully nice warm weather too.
It's probably in the 70s or 80s
Right.
down there right now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I could dig that a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, we hope to see you guys in Charlotte for the championship game, and in Miami, hopefully, for the Orange Bowl against, who knows, maybe Nick Saban's Crimson Tide or the Gators. Who knows who it's going to be. But what an incredible season that we're witnessing right before our eyes. Just sort of a continuation of the basketball championship.
Right. Amen.
And also the soccer and the field hockey and lacrosse. Everything's going pretty well for Virginia right now.
And I don't know the validity of this statistic, but in the 20 years or so you go back, we have won the most national championships of any school. Now somebody's got to go back and footnote that back, because I'm not sure. I've been told that, and tailgate parking lot lure stories, but that's the fact. That's a big deal too. So, but nevertheless, this year has been really a testament to the whole athletic program and how Virginia has been approaching it, and knock on wood, with none of the unpleasantness many of the other programs have seen. So
yes, we've seen some of that rear its ugly head just recently. So hopefully that we'll ward that off.
Yes,
in
right.
So anyway, that's our update on the ACC Championship football game. Virginia's only won the ACC Championship twice, in 1989 2009 with George Wells.
Wells, yeah.
And 1995 with George Wells.
All right.
So, as a footnote to that, Bryce Perkins, I talked to him back in July, and he wanted to know what, he asked Bronco what he could do to become even a better quarterback, and Bronco looked him in the eye and said, what separates great quarterbacks from good quarterbacks is that great quarterbacks win championships. Can you win us a championship? And he has.
Yes.
That's part of his legend here, and one of only 3 UVA quarterbacks to do that in modern times. Mike Groh in '95 was one,
right.
and Sean Moore in
Sean,
'89.
the more-to-more
was the
connection,
other one,
yeah.
More-to-more.
Yeah.
And legendary stuff. So that'll wrap it up. We hope to see you in Charlotte. We want to thank Gary and Blue Ridge Bank for
You're welcome,
sponsoring our ACC Football Championship coverage, and hopefully we'll have some good news to report from down in Charlotte.
There you go. Thank you, Jerry.
Check out Blue Ridge Bank and their $50,000 jackpot coming up in the new year. Who knows? Might have your name on it.
That's right. Take care. Thank you.
Until then, see you later.
All right.